Listen to this situation, and you guys are going to listen closely, and then I'm going to ask you some questions about it. Imagine that it's the end of the grading period, and you have received the following test scores: a 90, an 88, a 100, and an 82. You have one more test to take before the end of the grading the grading period. Okay, if your teacher bases your grade on the median of your test scores, will you be motivated to study for the last test? Okay, so your scores were a 90, 88, 100, an 82, and you have one more test to take. Are you going to be motivated to study if I base your test grade on the median score? So what do you have to do first? You have to put them in order. So the lowest score is an 82. Your next score is an 88. The next score is a 90. The next score is 100. So, if I put my next score up here and say that the next test I make a 100 on, my middle number is 90. But what if, just say I made 100, so I get a 90 when I average, for the median score, that'd be my grade out of the 5. So what would happen if I put a 0 in here? What happens to my middle number? Well, now I can make as low as a 0, and when I put the middle number, my grade would be an 88. Are you motivated to study much for that test? Probably not, because I can get a 0, make an 88 in the class. If I study real hard and I get 100, I get a 90. I only get 2 points more for studying really hard. So median's probably not going to motivate you. What if I say I'm going to base your grade on the mean score, on the average score of this? Are you going to be motivated to study? Well, this time, if I don't study at all, and I add all 5 of these up, and I say I don't study and I don't even want to take the test, what happens to my grade? Take out your calculators, add all 5 of those up, and divide by 5. Well, you're probably going to be more motivated to study, because the better score will give you a higher grade. So when I did this one, what did I get for my mean? When I made a 0 and didn't study, and then Mr. Roughton, you check them. And then we're going to do it. What if I make a 100 as my last grade, and I add all of those up and see what my mean score is if I make 100. And then you guys look back, and you're probably going to be more motivated to study, because that 0 is going to bring your mean down, where that 100 is going to bring it up. Okay, next one. Suppose you score a 20 out of 100 on the last test. So instead of this being 100, my last test, I score a 20. Okay, will the median or the mean be a better picture of your overall performance? The median or the mean be a better picture? Well, hopefully you guys have answered and said something. But I know right away by looking at this that most of the time this student is made a B or better. Is this what he typically is like, or she typically is like? No. So, if I average that grade in, it's really going to drop this down. And I want you guys to do that right now. Add up all 5 of these scores and then see what you get for the mean, and then see what you get. We know what the median will be, because if we have a 20, it's going to go on this side because we have to put it in order. Let me put this down here. Let's put them up above it. So 20 goes here, 82 goes here, 88 goes here, 90 goes here because we put them in order, and then now my middle score is an 88. And an 88 shows a pretty good picture of what they do. It could be that maybe they were sick and they couldn't study, they had an emergency, and then all of a sudden, that's not usually the kind of performance they do. Okay, next one. Suppose you score 95 out of 100 on the final test. Do you want your grade to be based on a median or a mean if you score 95 on the last test? I bet pretty quick you guys notice that you're going to want a mean. So do your mean and do your median for this group of scores. We know the median is going to be 90, but what will the mean be? You guys all do that, and Mr. Roughton will check you on your calculator, and you're probably going to like that other score better. Okay, this one. Most teachers determine final grades by calculating the mean or the average scores for your students. Why do you suppose we use a mean? Hopefully you'll think about that very first one we did, because we want you to be motivated to study for every test. And if you get to the end of the semester and you have all your grades and you like your grades, and you know that if I add one more to it, it's not going to change it, then you're probably not going to learn that last unit the way you should, because you don't have to study, because it won't affect your grade. Now, last thing, you guys talk with Mr. Roughton about a situation outside of school in which the mode data would be the most useful. This is one of my favorite discussions. Think about when mode is most useful. Pause it for just a minute.